Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. It is Saturday, May 19th, 2018. You're listening to Cut to the Chase, my not-so-weekly podcast where I sit down and talk to various awesome people from the video game and anime industries, of course. And I am your host, as always, Alex Jones, also known as Corrupt One, as many people like to call me, of course. But joining me today is a very special guest, one Giant Bomb's very own, Jan Ochoa. How's it going, Jan?
It's going great, Alex. How's it going for you, man?
Pretty good. I was hoping I pronounced your last name correctly. I was a little bit nervous there for a second.
Totally fine.
All right,
Nailed it.
Cool. So, without further ado, I guess I will hop into what the questions are. Now, I have a bunch of questions from myself, obviously, and I brought a bunch of questions from the community as well. I gave them some time to dredge some up, and a lot of them were very similar in nature, of course. So I had to kind of ball some of those up into one Question, and then so I'll just say everybody has gotten credit for that when they ask those questions.
Sure.
What I like to do on this show for my guests at the very beginning, this happens to every guest that I have on the show, as you might have seen before. I like to have them take a moment to introduce themselves as a whole, give themselves an elevator pitch, as so to speak.
Okay.
Of who they are. So yeah, Jan, who are you?
Cutting to the chase.
Yeah, we're cutting straight to the chase.
Hey guys, my name is Jan Ochoa. I am the new guy at Giant Bomb. I am the associate video producer for the West Coast office for Giant Bomb. I do all the video stuff, help out with quick looks, UPF streaming, handle all the video stuff for the podcast lately. And yeah, I've done a bunch of video work all over the place before. Most notably, that I like to tell people, I used to work on Mythbusters and Megabots, the guys that built a giant robot to fight Japan.
Oh man, that's so cool. So wait. Okay, so I have to ask about the Megabots thing. How did that come about? That was like the first question when you said that. The first question that came to my mind was, how did that come about?
So I've quickly learned that it's a very, very small world, right? Every industry somehow is tied up with every other industry. And I got linked up with Megabots from an old producer I used to work with at Mythbusters, actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So when Mythbusters had ended and Mythbusters' Search, the spin-off reality show seeking the new hosts for Mythbusters, ended, I was looking for a gig, and Megabots was looking for someone that could be there on a Monday through Friday, occasionally a Saturday basis. And they were working with my old producer from Mythbusters, and they were like, hey, she was like, hey, I know a guy that will jump through all the hoops and you can fit into anywhere and he'll film everything for you guys. Here you go.
So it just kind of was a magical journey from that point on, huh?
It was a magical journey filled with a lot of engine oil, other hydraulic fluids, and metal shavings.
Oh, that sounds fantastic. So to get to the other part of this, I guess the big question here is, because I'm obviously working at Giant Bomb now, so the question is, why Giant Bomb? What was it about Giant Bomb that appealed to you for the reason why you wanted to, become part of the family? Oh, man.
So I've been a fan of Giant Bomb since the very beginning. I've followed Jeff and everyone else when they used to be at GameSpot, and it was kind of my dream job to get to work for them. Get to work for Giant Bomb, and also, who wouldn't want to be able to just tell their friends, like, yeah, I kind of play video games, or help film people play video games for a living.
Right.
So that was always kind of like the dream goal or the dream job. And when I saw that door was finally open, or that opportunity was there, I had to go for it.
Oh man, that sounds so cool. Yeah, I can see you sporting the fabulous Giant Bomb hoodie as well.
Oh, you gotta rep the brand.
That's right. That's
also
right. And what also caught my eye back there, that Captain America shield. Hold on a second. What's going on with that? What's going on with that?
Okay. Big comic book nerd. I know specifically on the Bombcast, Jeff and everyone else likes to rag on the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but man, I'm a Marvel diehard by deep down. So a friend got that for me for my birthday a couple years back. He had a bunch of friends sign it. Also, I'm rocking a Captain America mug.
Yeah, I noticed that.
as we're chatting right now.
That's pretty awesome. For me, all I got is like, I can't say I got anything too fantastic except the signed Metal Gear postcard that I got back there from Metal Gear Solid 2.
That's amazing right there. I noticed that, and I had to while we're trying to figure out the audio issues earlier, I kept like thinking like, is that Metal Gear?
Yeah. So the story behind that is because I'm also a co-host on another podcast called The Codec. And the very first episode of that, we had the honor of interviewing David Hayter himself. And after that interview, he was like, hey, yeah, I'd be happy to sign some stuff for you guys if you want to. So we asked him to sign some postcards and send them to us, and he did that for us. So that's where that whole thing came from.
That's awesome, dude.
Yeah, that kind of got me when I started doing this whole podcast and thing to begin with. So that was pretty cool.
Dope.
Yeah. So I guess my next question would be, since you finally got the chance to work at one of your dream jobs, so to speak, what has the experience been like for you at Giant Bomb so far?
It's definitely, at the same time where I figured out the world is very small, I've also figured out that everyone else is very big. Like I'd always known from like videos and watching and following Giant Bomb that like, yeah, Jeff and the crew, they're tall dudes.
Oh yeah, big time.
And that Ben is a big, tall dude. And I'm like 5'7", 5'8", and then I walk into the office and then my neck is just craning just to stare up at everyone. And that's probably like the most interesting thing right off the bat is that everyone is just gigantic, and I feel like I need a stool all the time if I were to like film eye level with everyone.
Yeah. And like I've been hearing the stories about how tall Ben actually is, but seeing him on camera, you don't really quite get that until you have those moments where you see him off camera, off frame, and it's like half of his body there, and I'm like, Jesus, how tall is he? So yeah, that's got to be something to think about when you go in there every day for sure.
Yeah, it's also interesting whenever Ben and I go out for lunch or like hang out afterwards, and that everyone is just staring at Ben. And then I'm just looking at them. It's like, yeah, I mean, I've gotten used to this by now.
Yeah. I can get it. I get it. Like, it's a hard thing when you see someone that tall. You're kind of like, I don't want to stare too much, but hey.
Right.
Yeah. No, I get it. That's pretty cool. Like, I've seen a lot of the content you guys are putting out together, like Ben's Lens and stuff with the behind the scenes stuff too. So it's good to see you guys working together. And I like some of the additional content that you've been doing on top of that. And having you more on the show has always been a plus for sure.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess besides the fact that people being tall at Giant Bomb, what other challenges have you faced when you first started working there, I guess?
So I actually my media background is completely different than anything that Giant Bomb does.
Yeah.
Like a lot of stuff that Giant Bomb does is like one take, straight to the tape and live. A lot of the editing and production stuff is done on site. And a lot of the stuff I've been trained to do and done in the past is like, all right, we'll shoot this. If we don't get it right, we'll shoot it again. If we don't get it right that second time, we'll just keep going for it. And then hours and hours editing whatever we shot for forever, until we were eventually satisfied and done. That's probably been the biggest adjustment, getting used to that production atmosphere where it's
Uh-oh. Jan, you still there? I think we might have lost Jan, ladies and gentlemen. I think we might have lost him. Hold on a minute.
Probably the best thing, perfectly, I'd spend hours after we shot something. I'd spend hours editing that. I'd still be worrying about the stuff afterwards.
Oh yeah, no, I get it. I get it. So you came in around the time, like very close to the time of Game of the Year, obviously. It's talking about the production nightmare. So I'm kind of curious about what kind of nightmare that actually was for you and the video crew over at Giant Bomb when it came to Game of the Year.
So it's kind of like a running gag and just a reality that of equipment failure at Giant Bomb. Something will go wrong. So there'll be a random popping noise. A mic won't work. A camera suddenly won't work. But I think the biggest balance for me was I was slowly getting used to switching video for like the Bombcast, for instance, right? Mm-hmm. Getting used to switching it for the normal Giant Bomb West crew talking, and finding my little moments. Okay, like, hey, maybe I'll say something now. And then suddenly when we get the East Coast crew in there too, I'm like, who do I point the camera at? Who's talking right now? Am I pressing the right buttons?
Yeah.
I'm just not going to say anything. And also, like, I big shout out to Jason for being probably the best teacher I've had ever in like a work atmosphere, because he's totally like helped run me through the hoops of how Giant Bomb does their production stuff. And also shout outs because he totally trusted me to help run stuff during Game of the Year, and not that many things went wrong, thankfully.
Yeah, from what we could see, at least on our end of the cycle, we didn't see anything go wrong. But I'm sure in some cases, in cases behind the scene, it might have been a bit more of a different story for sure.
Yeah, a lot of me just like pulling my hair in the control and be like, no.
Oh, that sounds awful. So I guess like, because when you first came in, like it's always a case of trying to blend into the family, and of course there's the fan reception on top of that. So can you talk a little bit about what the fan reception was like when you first got in?
You know, I was definitely scared of when they first announced me to everyone, and that article went out, Jason tweeted about me, and then I had that delusion flood of the Giant Bomb family now following me on Twitter.
Yeah.
And I was just worrying the whole time. It's like, oh, they're gonna hate me. They're gonna think my hair is dumb, or like they're gonna bag on me because I like Sonic. But you know, I gotta count my blessings in that the Giant Bomb community has been super welcoming.
Yeah.
It's been freaking amazing to hear all these people supportive and being a fan, even before getting to really know me, of supporting Giant Bomb hiring me. Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, which like I'm an advocate of saying like that hiring you is probably one of the best things they've done so far for sure. And the fan reaction, of course, me being included in that, was very positive. I was super happy to see that they finally got someone new for the production team, and you blending in with the family. That's been a definite plus for the Giant Bomb team for sure. So I can definitely say that from my point of view, at least I can say that. And also, how dare you like Sonic? No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Hey man, he likes to go fast. I like to go fast.
There you go. Like it was somebody who was the only person that actually fought a little bit for Sonic Mania and the Game of the Year stuff. You had my support on that as somebody who also enjoys Sonic as well. So don't feel bad about that. I'm with you on that.
My man.
So I guess with Giant Bomb being a somewhat personality driven website, and I guess, how did you manage to keep your sanity during that time of Game of the Year stuff, especially with everyone, you know, bringing in their own personalities, their own like opinions and stuff like that, and you being the new guy on the team, of course, around that time. So how did you manage to keep yourself going during that?
I guess like I've always had I use this quote a lot, and I'm gonna keep using it, and I'm gonna keep misquoting it, but the philosopher Diogenes said, we're born with like 2 ears and 1 mouth, so you should listen more. And I've always approached everything with that mentality of like, okay, like I'm just going to keep listening, and then I will use my voice of when I absolutely need to use my voice. And I understand for a personality driven website, sometimes that's not the best, but with so many strong personalities in the room, you know, if I don't have something conducive to say to the argument or the conversation, then like I'll hold my tongue unless I find something like really offensive, like Nier, if someone suggested that Nier shouldn't be in the top 10 or something like that, you know. But also I guess it comes with having been a fan for so long. I have grown accustomed to the cadence of people's speech or whatever that it kind of almost anticipated when someone would say something. But yeah, it's also picking and choosing my battles, or when there is a pocket for me to say something. You know, but if they start talking mad mess about Sonic, then you know, production headphones are off.
That's right. The gauntlet is thrown. It's time to throw down. Like, you don't say anything. Somebody who was I had to hold my tongue during the Sonic Mania discussion, but I was happy to see where it got, at least during that Game of the Year discussion, because honestly I did not think it would even get on a list, in all honesty. Knowing the crew, man. Like I was surprised it made it that far. So that was pretty cool. And I'm happy to see that there's somebody out there who was willing to fight for it outside of me, of course.
I don't know if it's fighting the good fight, but you know, it's there.
It got somewhere that you didn't think it would get to. So that was pretty good.
Yeah.
So I guess my follow-up question to that is, how has it been, like what kind of adjustment has it been for you to get used to a personality-driven website like this?
It's definitely that I'm under a bigger microscope.
Yeah.
And there are times where I'll just be in the background, or I'll do something with the video that, and I think like, oh, it's funny, or it's like, oh, it's a little thing, no one will notice, and there'll be someone either complaining or someone will notice it, and it's just interesting. Like I'll like the type of stuff that winds up on Giant Bomb Unarchived, for instance. You know, it's like, oh, that's supposed to be a little gag between me and like the 40 something people that show up to the waiting room for the Giant Bombcast before we live stream it. Or there was one time where I was wearing a hat during the Bombcast.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Then someone had mentions like, oh my God, Jen didn't do his hair. He's wearing a hat. Yeah, that's probably been the biggest adjustment, of noticing that people are now noticing me. Yeah.
That's, as somebody who's been started doing this podcast and other podcasts as well, webcam as well, it's like, okay, there are things that people are going to notice that you don't really think they would notice or say anything about, but it's like, holy crap, they notice a lot of things. So you have to, it's an adjustment to get used to that kind of thing for sure. At least for me, it's been,
Most definitely. No, totally agreed.
Now you speak about that hat situation, and they said that you didn't do your hair, but was it true? Was it true? Did you?
I was getting a haircut later.
I think you might have lost Jan again here, folks. Hold on a minute.
What was that?
Okay, there we go. Yeah, I think we lost you for a second, so I was just making sure that it was still working. But what did you say previously to catch back up on that?
Oh, I was getting a haircut later that day, so I couldn't have a product in the hair. So I had to wear the hat.
See, there you go, folks. The truth is out there. The truth is out there. So you've always been open to community feedback when it comes to, like, you know, the podcast, quick looks and stuff like that, and UPF, of course. So how has that helped shape a lot of the things that I could say for both you and Jason going forward in terms of video content at the GBOS studio?
Luckily, a lot of people have been open to the little changes we've been trying to incorporate. Mm-hmm. We made the switch for the podcast, at least, to try doing it at 24 frames per second versus the normal 60 that we've been doing.
Right.
And people were very open to it. People were also open to like the different split layouts I've been trying out, and the random crap and dumb things that I'll try and do on UPF. And you know, mostly, like, thankfully, Jason, Jeff, and the crew have been like very open and like, hey, like, just go for it, just do it, whatever. Cool. It's Unprofessional Fridays for a reason.
Yeah, that's cool.
So having that freedom has been like definitely like very gratifying. And since I don't get to get the opportunity to be on the couch too often because, you know, we're a small team. Yeah. It's been nice that I can get a little bit out of my humor and my stuff out there. Yeah. During UPF, for like little dumb things and dumb graphics I'll do during streams.
The fantastic graphics, that especially during Brad's Mario stream, that was something else. That was something else for sure. That was entertaining watch. Oh boy! So I guess this is around the time with E3 coming up, right? And everybody's excited about that. And you mentioned that this will be like your first time actually going into E3 itself. So tell me a little story about that. Like, why has it all this time you haven't been inside of E3? What's going on there?
So I used to work for an AV company. We did handle like a lot of rentals and stuff. And my boss at the time, we got hired out to provide equipment for a company, and we needed to drive said equipment down there instead of shipping it because it would have been too expensive. So I didn't volunteer, but he made me drive down to LA, drop off all the equipment. So I was waiting in a small, tiny box truck, and I was thinking like, okay, cool. Like, I'll unload the gear, and, you know, maybe since I'm kind of working with this other company. I'll get to go in. And, you just spent like, so the drive from the Bay Area to LA, it's about 6-7 hours, give or take.
Oh, geez.
And, spent all that time driving.
Right.
I thought like, okay, I'll just get to hang out for a little bit. I'll chill. Maybe I'll get to go inside and like, just look at the games and stuff. I don't need to play anything. I just wanted to look around.
Yeah.
And at the time I was thinking like, oh, maybe I'll get to see like some of the Giant Bomb Crew or these other like video game personalities I am a fan of. And as soon as we unload the truck, call my boss up and say like, hey man, like everything's off the truck. Is it cool if I just hang out? And then he's about to get on his flight going to LA. And he's saying like, no, Jan, I need you back up at the warehouse. I need you back up here ASAP. So before I can even step out of the loading dock, I get back in my little box truck and drive back up to the Bay Area.
Oh man, that's awful. That's awful.
But the kicker is, I'm halfway back to the Bay Area, and then my boss calls me saying, Jan, are you still in the Bay? Are you still in LA, man? Like, we got invited to a party if you want to come out. And then I'm just like face palming. It's like I'm halfway back in a box truck. I'm just gonna go home. I'm just gonna go home.
Yeah. At that point, like after all that driving, that is insane. I can totally understand.
But like that. I by no means do I mean any disrespect to my former employers. They were always great to me.
Right.
It was just a very, really, man, I can't just hang out.
Yeah, no, I get it. That's pretty crazy. Yeah, so I'm pretty excited for E3 itself, but man, a lot of the leaks that have been coming out have kind of taken away a lot of my excitement lately. So there's that part of it.
Right.
Yeah. So
I mean the Rage 2 cover art's pretty weird. Their artistic decision,
Yeah, the direction for Rage 2 in general, it's like they compared to what it was previously, that was a big step in a different direction for sure.
Totally.
So I guess what you guys having to prepare for E3, like what has it been like trying to get everything ready to go for shipping down there to wherever you guys are being located at for E3?
It's just a lot of Excel sheets and different lists of like, all right, like let's make sure we have everything ordered. If we need anything else, Jason is super organized, which I'm thankful for because most of the time I'm not. Him and Vinny have been like communicating about like what we need to get, what we already have, and I think it's gonna be smooth sailing.
Yeah, that's good. That's good to hear because there's been a lot of stories in the past about how things didn't go too smoothly trying to get stuff to and from E3 for the GB crew for sure. So
I mean, if it comes down to it, I will once again load up into a box truck and drive down with our equipment if it gets to that point.
Oh man, I mean, I applaud you for being that diligent with it for sure, because I know a lot of that stuff is a real pain in the butt for sure. So I guess we can finally get to the main event of these questions, right?
Ooh,
here we go.
Okay.
So Heelys, let's talk about them.
Okay.
All right. So you got a pair of Heelys, right? And during an episode of Ben's List, you guys can check out on the website, you and Ben had a little race with those. Question is, how long have you had those, and how in God's name do you still know how to use them after all this time?
So I guess it's one of those deals where, like, they say you don't forget how to ride a bike.
Yeah.
But I guess that's also applicable to Heelys. So I actually had a pair when I was a kid, like 10 or 11. Mm-hmm. And then, as you go through puberty and stuff, totally grow out of them. So I just gave them as hand-me-downs to some smaller cousins. And I got that pair of Heelys, I think, the one that I use in the video, maybe 2012, 2011.
Oh, wow.
For a theater production.
Yeah.
I used to do theater on the side. And we were doing a Little Mermaid. Like I explained in the video, we were doing a Little Mermaid, and our director wanted to copy the Broadway version because they actually used Heelys also.
Oh, okay.
So
that's
instead
crazy.
of like walking, it's weird.
That's really weird. I never would have thought. Sorry, go ahead. Continue.
So like we're fish people, mermaids, mermen, and instead of walking, our director thought it'd be cool if we were gliding around. So it'd be hilarious, like help, since I had Healy knowledge,
Yeah.
it'd be hilarious teaching my fellow my cast of like how to Healy, and like we would literally go to the Safeway near our theater and like take shopping carts and just like ride them down the aisles.
Oh man, that sounds like a lot of fun.
Else.
That sounds like a lot of fun. Holy crap. It's funny because like Healy's was a thing back when I was in like, I want to say just getting into middle school.
Yeah, same.
I saw the infomercial for it, and the first thing that came to my mind was, this looks stupid. Why would you just not roller skate? Why would you just not use roller skates? That was me back then, right?
Okay.
But then seeing you use them now, I'm just like, why didn't I get a pair of those? How did I miss out on that? I never understood it, but seeing those again, that took me way back to my childhood, and I was like, man, I was an idiot for skipping out on those. I still wish I had a pair. I wish I still had a pair, but that's actually really cool. I had no idea they were using them for plays and stuff like that. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's turns out there's actual useful uses for Heelys.
They're not as stupid as I once thought. Let's put it that way. See, there you go. All right, get to the next big question here.
Okay.
As a fellow advocate of Sonic Mania,
okay, how
much of a Sonic fan are you really?
Okay. God.
This is where the torches and pitchforks come out, so everything's okay.
So I will die on the hill that I say Sonic Advance 2 is the best 2D Sonic game. Sonic Mania is great because it's a great return to form of the original formula.
Yeah.
I will also say that Sonic Heroes, the where you switch off between the teams of 3, it's not that bad. It's not that bad.
You know what? I will stand with you on that hill for sure about Sonic Heroes and Sonic Advance 2, because I actually really enjoyed Sonic Advance 2 on the GBA back in the day. That was one of my favorites. And Sonic Heroes is not amazing, but it's not that bad either. At least
it's not that bad.
It's not that bad.
And I've every time a new one comes out, I'll tell myself like, you don't have to try it. You found the ones you like. But then the kid in me is just like, that morbid curiosity. Like I need to know.
Yeah.
So I'll try and check out the other stuff that comes out. And thankfully the East Coast had quick looked the newest Sonic
Forces?
game that came out.
Yeah.
Oh man.
That was my curiosity this year when it came to Sonic Forces. I'm like, I know this game is not going to be great, but I'm going to try it anyways and see what happens.
Yeah.
And it didn't go over too well.
No.
Yeah. Okay, we're back.
Oh, okay.
Cool.
Sorry.
So go ahead, continue what you were saying about Sonic Unleashed. Sorry about that.
I think that was a testament that we should probably stop talking about Sonic.
There's a divine force out there that's trying to prevent us from talking about Sonic games. Yeah. So that go ahead.
But that morbid curiosity is just like, well, maybe this one will have this weird hook that I like, and 80% of the time, no.
I mean, at least you give it a shot, right? At least you can say you gave it its day in court.
Right.
And that's kind of where I am with it too. Like I know I see the bad games when they come, but I'm like, what is this actually about? I can't form a real opinion unless I try it, right? So I do that, and then
totally.
Yeah, it always turns out to not be worth my time. So there's that.
Sonic's batting average, not the best.
Yeah, subpar at best.
Yeah.
So okay, out of my own curiosity, what kind of games have you been playing as of late, recently?
As of late, I'm trying to catch up on God of War. Man, wow.
Words can't form them.
It's I loosely follow the original trilogy, and man, like this, every podcast, my own included, has talked to death about how it's amazing, and that you don't need to have played the original trilogy to have that same reverence, and just like the storytelling in it has been amazing. I know a lot of people don't find Atreus, your son in the game, very annoying, but I've actually gotten attached to the kid, and then I'm just hating every time that Kratos is just like, Boyd, you're dumb.
Yeah. Boyd.
Other than that, wrapped up Ni no Kuni 2.
Nice.
And
I just finished that recently as well.
Man, there was there were some moments in that game too, where I'm like, oh my god.
Especially towards the end there, there was some parts at the end for sure that I was not expecting at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I definitely got to a point though, and I think Ben shared the same sentiment where like, I'm too strong now. Like I let this game run for too long. Yeah, other than those two games, I playing Spy Party on and off sometimes. Oh, yeah. Baking that banana bread. And I picked up a Vita a couple of months ago.
Oh.
So just doing another run of my own run of Persona 4.
Oh, nice. Very nice.
So, and just got. I'm sorry. Go on.
Oh no, you're good. I'm sorry.
Just visiting the meat dimension, and then all your favorite friends.
Man. Yeah. So have you had a chance to play Persona 5 at all, or?
Yeah. I got maybe 5-6 hours into it last year. I've been told I should revisit it, but it didn't grab me immediately like Persona 4 did.
Right.
But it's definitely something I'd love to revisit. If I know Sony announced that they're going to stop making games for the Vita, but if that's one of the last ones they'll do, I'm picking it up.
There you go. Sony, you got one chance to convince him to get back in. One chance. Put it on the Vita. That's what you got to do. All right, so I'm going to ask the final very important question here. We can all agree that you have perhaps the best hair in the business, next to Abby. Right next to Abby. So I'm kind of curious about how much prep work goes into making that amazing do of yours each day.
So surprisingly, not that long of a process.
All right.
I'd say 5 minutes tops.
That's not bad. That's not bad.
Yeah. I've got it down to a science now where pop out of the shower, blow dry my hair after I've, put clothes on and stuff. Just head into the bathroom, throw some pomade on, and then I'm good to go.
Oh man. See, I wish mine was that easy. I wish mine was that easy.
This come with years of training my hair to do this though, because if my hair grows out long, I have the awkward 90s middle part going on. So I've kind of had to train my hair to like not immediately part in the middle, but like, hey, let's part from there, and that's easier to work with.
Yeah. Oh, man, that's something I probably should have tried to do with my own hair at some point. But me, it's mostly just because my sister is she's a professional hairstylist, so I have her cut my hair all the time. And whenever I do that, I'm just like, hey, just do whatever you think looks good. I don't have time. Just whatever you think looks good, just hook me up. So that's kind of where my hair treatment goes when I get haircuts and stuff like that. But that's actually pretty cool to see that amazing do of yours takes almost no time at all to get going.
It also helps that I'm very good friends with my barber, and that he's amazing.
So there you go, folks. There's the story behind that and how it works. So I guess we can move over to some fan questions here.
Totally.
All right. So we got a bunch of fan questions. A lot of them were kind of similar in nature. Okay. So I kind of just bunch of them up, but we got a few here to try not to go too much overtime. I don't want to make this podcast go over an hour longer or anything close to that. So
sure.
I got a few here from fans. So I got two questions here from one person. This is from Vancy on Discord, who is a good friend of mine, by the way. She asks, what types of games do you enjoy playing the most?
Ooh. Hi, Vancy. I'd probably say tactics style games, tactical RPGs. I sunk way too much time into the Breach when I came out.
Yeah.
And I gotta say, that's probably like a front runner for what some of my favorite games of this year so far.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like I just love spending hours thinking about one move and then making that one move and then immediately regretting the hours I thought about it.
So have you played any of the Final Fantasy Tactics games or the Sky games?
Yeah. War of the Lions, Final Fantasy Tactics Advance, and A2, some of my favorites. Fire Emblem 2.
Oh yeah,
of course.
Yeah.
Advance Wars.
Yeah. Wow. So have you played any of the Disgaea games at all?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Yeah. I just had to make sure. I'm like, you had to play those two, right? At some point. I had to get that in there.
I don't advocate printy violence at all. They're your friends. They're there to help you.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
I agree. I didn't start getting into the Disguise games until recently, because I had a friend of mine who was like vehemently pushing me to play those games. Like, you need to play them, you need to play them. I'm like, all right, I'll just sit down and play this one. And then I got way into it, more so than I thought I did. So
totally. Yeah, no. I tried it out when the series first came out on the PS2 and was not a fan for whatever reason.
Yeah.
But then revisiting it the past couple years, it's like, okay, all right, I see what everyone's made a big deal about.
I guess it's with age, you start learning a little bit of patience with these games, and
your tastes develop.
Yeah, I get that. All right, so this next question comes in from Jake on Discord. He says, "How do you make all those cool graphics during the live shows?"
So I love the Adobe Creative Suite, and I've gotten really good at doing bad Photoshop. And I guess, like, I'll just hook. I like to keep an eye on chat, make sure that, like, the show's still going, and like, can still see and hear everything.
Right.
And sometimes they'll say something, or they'll latch on to something that some of the guys do in the studio, or sometimes the guys will say something or whatever, and I'll think, like, okay, I like that. I'm gonna turn that into something. So I'll immediately, fingers crossed that nothing is currently going wrong, and I'll have the time to make something. I'll go make something immediately in Photoshop, and then throw it from Photoshop to After Effects, and then After Effects into vMix. But since I've learned about NDI, it's gotten even easier to do some of my dumb graphic stuff, that I no longer have to upload it to Google Drive and then pull it down from Google Drive into vMix. So now I can just toss it over and we're good to go. I need to start getting into that too, because I try doing my own graphics as well, and I'm also quite bad at Photoshop, I have to admit myself. But I guess I have to start embracing that. But I do create graphics for, like, my live streams and stuff like that. Usually I do these interviews live, but I've had some technical issues on that front, so I had to stop doing that for a bit. But I'll have to consider using NDI and maybe something like vMix to get this stuff going for sure, because it's been a real pain in the butt trying to render all that stuff and then get it to Photoshop and then putting it into OBS, and that's totally a nightmare. Yeah. That's a nightmare. It's opened up a whole new world of possibilities.
I got to try that. I got to give that a shot. So this next question comes in from one Ali on Discord. He goes, "When are we going to see you on more quick looks? We want more Jan."
Actually, this since Jason's been gone, Jeff's been gone for E3 Judges Week, and Brad's been tied up booking E3 appointments. I think I'm on another one with Ben that's coming out soon.
Oh, yeah.
Also, we cherry, as people know, Giant Bomb has the opportunity to, like, we can choose the games to cover other than the big tentpole releases. Right. So if there's a game that we really feel passionate about, we'll cover that. But I guess, like, when the storm is settled down of, like, E3's gone and stuff, I can pop into more stuff. If there's another Attack on Titan game, I'll take it.
I was actually kind of happy to see the quick look go up and that you were the one that was on that, because I'm like, there is nobody else who will play these games. I know that for a fact. There is no way this one's getting covered at all. So I was happy to see that get put up there.
And at first I thought, when Jason had asked me if I wanted to do it, I thought it was a joke. It's like, yeah, I'll do it. Yeah, totally. And then he comes up to me asking, like, okay, are you ready to do it? And I'm like, oh, okay, good. I actually played the game. Let's go. Oh, but I guess, like, slowly but surely I'll try and weasel my way into more quick looks and whatnot. Yeah. Ben and I definitely have plans.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, stay tuned for that for sure.
Yeah.
All right. Looking forward to it.
Also, I'd love to get the chance to make dumb video content with Abby.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
13 Deadly Sims brought me back to being, like, a fan of Giant Bomb, of, like, loving the dumb stuff and dumb ideas. Yeah. And it broke my heart that I had to die first. But,
and it was even worse from the way you died on top of that.
Yeah, exactly. But just like with Abby's creativity and just like her general like sense of comedy, I love to get the chance to like make something. And you know, it's definitely a challenge being on two separate coasts.
Yeah.
But the couple times in the year when we all do get together, I'd love to try and do something.
Yeah, that sounds like a good idea. I'll be curious to see when that finally does happen. So I'm looking forward to that too.
Yeah.
All right, I guess for the last question here, this one comes from Hassan, if I'm saying that name right. If I'm butchering your name, I apologize. Sometimes I get them, other times I don't. But they ask, how did the Mythbusters gig come about?
Oh, this, I guess, you know, people say right place at the right time. Yeah. And it was definitely an instance of that. I saw an ad on a media hiring website, kind of a cleaner version of Craigslist, I guess, looking for PAs for a Discovery Channel show in the Bay Area. And I thought, okay, there's only one show that Discovery does that shoots in the Bay Area, and I think that's Mythbusters. So I emailed, and I got an email back, and they had said like, hey, like we'll try you out for a day, and if that works out well, then we'll see you what we can schedule you for. Sweet. And that one day was a freaking hurricane of random tasks. And what was supposed to be initially one day turned out to kind of 3-ish years of working with a crew.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So I definitely consider myself fortunate and lucky that I was at the right place in the right time, and they happened to like me and kept me around for so long.
Now, was the Megabox gig after Mythbusters or before?
Yes. So we went on a couple hiatuses with Mythbusters in between seasons and whatnot, and then the original series ending, and then the search starting up. But Megabots was post all of my Mythbuster shenanigans.
Oh, okay, yeah. I get you. That's actually pretty cool. Because I know you talked about being on Mythbusters before, and we kind of heard that when you first got announced to be working at Giant Bomb, but I had no idea, you know, how that went, or the Megabots thing on top of that, and how that all led over you to get into Giant Bomb as well. I was kind of curious about what if that experience, you know, has led into some of the work you did at Giant Bomb, or has that been a completely different entity entirely when it comes to the work you do at Giant Bomb?
Like I mentioned earlier, like a lot of the other stuff I used to do is very like scripted and planned out for the most part, and wound up being heavily edited, as opposed to Giant Bomb, where like everything is off the cuff, like where everyone is just riffing off of each other. The only preconceived stuff may be like the specific news stories we'll cover in the Bombcast, or whatever games we're going to be playing for UPF. But what I've been able to take away from my previous place of employment is, I guess, the adaptability of adapting to the situations. Like I'm used to being stuffed in a small bunker holding a camera, waiting for a rocket to go off.
Yeah.
In the desert, you know. Or I've been used to like having to climb a 16-foot tall robot and place a bunch of GoPros and make sure they're recording. Meanwhile, there's like a live audience going on, like yelling about like, how come this robot isn't working? So I feel like my patience has been honed to a point where in Giant Bomb, I can like stay calm when stuff does go wrong and like quickly, you know, find what it is and then fix it.
Yeah.
Or adapt if I can't fix it to work around it.
Yeah. That's actually pretty cool. And that was actually the second question that Vancy had, but I kind of weaved that in because it was also a question that I had on top of that about how it differs like from the industries you worked at previously as opposed to working at Giant Bomb. So I kind of meshed that one in there. So Vancy, don't worry. I see you. I got you on that one. Don't worry. But yeah, I guess that's going to do it for the questions though. So I really appreciate you stopping by and giving me a chance to chat with you here, Jan. I appreciate you giving me a chance to give me a chance to be on the show and chatting with me on Giant Bomb as well. Yeah, that was really appreciated. So if any point in the future, because I would love to have you on the show again in the future, if you're ever available, would that be all right with you? Yeah,
totally. Just hit me up, man. Shoot me a PM, DM.
Awesome.
Send me a dumb Photoshop. I'm good.
I'll consider sending you a dumb Photoshop for sure next time. And I'll have to consider trying to get some more of the staff on the show at some point in the future too. So we'll look into that at some point as well. if you can,
you just gotta poke at him, and
like, hey, you on the show. Hello, I'm here. I know you guys are famous. I'm not quite so much, but just notice me, please. Notice me.
I do gotta say, do have to say, one of the biggest adjustments is just for things going from a fan to like now an employee of Giant Bomb, of like realizing how busy everyone is all the time.
Yeah, I believe that,
and like
for sure.
Like I thought like my workload was pretty big, but then seeing like all the stuff everyone else has to juggle is like insane, and I have no idea how they do it. But wow. Whew.
Yeah, you never really hear about that for fans watching the show. Like, you never really see how much goes on behind the scenes when it comes to extra work until they. No, it's okay. Yeah, so you don't really see a lot of that. You don't really hear a lot about that stuff going on behind the scenes unless they start actually talking about it, of course. And that's been a really, I guess, enlightening thing in a manner of speaking, because you get to see the kind of stuff that people do and putting that all together and how much work goes into putting that all together. And I guess that's been a really cool side of Giant Bomb so far, is getting a little more information about how that stuff works, for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
But so that's gonna do it for now, folks. Like I said previously, and a lot of people that asked on the Giant Bomb community Discord, and a lot of friends and stuff like that were asking, I will have video and audio versions of this up. Patrons will obviously get early access to the video first, and then the audio stuff will come up shortly after that. So just stay tuned. Once I work everything out, the archives will be up. I promise. But in the meantime, thank you all for watching, folks. I will see you next time on the next episode of Cut to the Chase. Take care.